will do the best. And so I couldn't even predict what team that is. I would like to say it's a team that has like a fundamental coach. Yeah. Over their final land, which I know that there's not that much data on the final land. They'll do things like poking and backing off of people's team and stuff like that, which is a very mental thing to do in Dota, because in order to not commit, you have to really be comfortable with your own emotions and really continue with emotions. So I think it's a mental game. I think who's gonna do well is who can thrive in the most chaos. It's so hard to say who that's going to be because of the strange circumstances with this team.
Yeah, and it's why you think that the three-peat is very much possible, right? Because the mental game approach that they have won twice already.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a big part of it. I think there's something that you're talking about chaos. I think that when you look at PSG over the past year, they've proven that they can win games where they're losing, they can win games where they're strong. And I think that's a very, very good sign for a team that we want to see doing. Yeah, because you're going to run into some players that are going to be hard. And it's not just going to be like smooth sailing, salty areas. I don't think we've had that like any.
Has any team that has been favored to win TI ever won TI other than potentially Alliance?
Absolutely.
Yeah. They were not really the finals for a lot of people going in. Once the tournament started, yes, they looked like the best.
From what I remember, the BBC ended, and then they were like pretty good.
Yeah.
And like, summits happened, and there were small non-BBC tournaments happening. Tomorrow on LGD, so it's a pretty good pedigree to have.
Yes. I feel like every year BP is the favorites to win TI. Like that.
Yeah.
At least in,
apart
like,
from this, I would say this year. I mean,
Other than this year.
they haven't performed on like one thing. A little negative information regarding Virtus Pro, because yes, they are playing with a coach. Have a coach to back them up as well. But one thing that they also changed is that Virtus Pro organization has hired a former basketball professional to help them with discipline. I think player. To help them with discipline in terms of training. Because obviously before they were bootcamping for a lot of their VPC season, and their region they crushed everything. It was close.
Not even close.
Like both seasons, first place, easy breezy, maybe dropped one game in total or something stupid like that. But they maybe got a little too lax, so now they have help, and we spoke at some point to DM about that. Their offline player, and he's like, yeah, he's helping us with discipline to make sure, we wake up at a certain time to train properly. Because at some point, if you're cruising through everything, you don't need that, right? You don't need that practice. And now
they need it. They really need it.
They're also very, very young.
They are, yeah.
So,
dude,
they didn't go to college and stuff like that to wake up for classes.
Right.
Anything like that. They just rolled up, started kicking ass at Dota. They maybe need a little bit of structure.
It is so obvious in their playstyle too. It's like that team more than any other team. If one of their cores is doing well, they will just build chat items like offering a Desolator Mars or something like that, and then everybody plays around that as a free carry. Like that team is the closest thing to a pub stack that you can find, like a very organized pub stack. And I know it seems insane, but like they're like the individually highest skilled team where they just play around the one guy that's probably on the field. A lot of teams don't really do that.
That's a hallmark of the Eastern European region, but also the South American region, which we've never had 3 South American teams.
Correct.
We've had 1 at most, and that's just been for like the last few years.
Yeah.
So the country is way more even. So while Eastern Europe was usually known for being the pop star, unstructured one, now South America kind of conversely is getting structured with the BGC and coming into this TI extremely strong. So both those regions exciting.
And I think Alliance is a contender, but I don't have them as like super clearly going. But I think we'll find out. I don't think Europe is as weak as they were a couple of months ago. I think now we've adapted to the fact that we're having trying to play European hubs for a while.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely there's been quite a lot of tournaments.
And I love the clubs.
That's like a huge question for me, honestly, is how is this, for a team like Nine or SG or something like NA Cups to grind with literally all of the best players from every region. So instead of your guys running around mid, actually having them in the cups rather than the USCs. So it's like how would that change these teams that are kind of expected to underperform? It's like, well, everybody's on the same plank. For at least a month, and especially with COVID, people are flying so much earlier.
Yeah, so the clubs have been madness for a while. It's nothing to say. It's still the top tier, right?
I believe it's still ranked one.
I think GPK is ranked 9. I think it's GPK, nothing to say.
Oh, is that how it is?
They're like interchangeable.
Yeah.
Depending on if the team is like breaking these items, avoid listing ogres. That's a great way.
Can we get maybe not a mid laner as number one at some point, or is that never going to happen?
I think it's really tactical. You will see depending on actors, especially when it comes to PUBG, certain roles tend to have like a bit of an edge. Right now, playing 5 is great. It's safe from the very start.
I saw you been breaking your own MMR records.
Right. So no, but different roles are like different.
Why is 5 so strong? Because even I noticed it, and I'm a player.
So I think it's mainly to do with the way that the roles structure. Like right now, the 5 is like the main dominant support role. And when you win your lanes, you can set yourself up like you're taking a carry, and you shut down their the game is off to a good start, I think, and then the current path. That's my take on it.
Well, it's a big difference from, for example, previous TI, where the emphasis was very much on support.
Yeah, I think 5s this year are going to very much stand out. Like, I think we have someone like DP5 who's like really, really good. I'm watching a lot of his games. I think he's going to perform really, really well, and he's going to be a standout guy. I'm confident that. I think teams that have strong, like, mechanically talented 5 players are really going to stand out.
What's the worst role for
at the moment?
For climbing, for having
okay.
Yeah, I have a theory. I'm curious what you think.
I think position 4 is the hardest one. Because you're both your support and you get to go up against a very strong 5. That's my theory.
Okay. I feel like offlaners are just generic stun guys. Like when I was looking at Thunder Predator, and I think they played recently in 2 tournaments, and they got last place in both, and then they had won 1 game.
Yeah.
And then this is the team that went 5 through 6, like the Singapore team, right? But then I noticed that Frank, who's their highest rated player, who's like ranked 6 on the net, has an offlane. Centaur, Mars, stuff like that. And the guy's like he's like a Beastmaster, Batrider, like cheese pick player. But that's not how the offense really is, though. But I mean, it depends on the team. That obviously it's been a month since we've seen it. But it feels like offlane is Sand King, Centaur. You just stun for your
So if we are talking a bit more in depth about the actual Dota game at the moment, then you're saying that at the moment, as far as your offlane go, you gotta go for heroes that are good with levels because you're not gonna get a goal.
Yeah, sure. And I think teams that have offliners that thrive under these circumstances will do better. There are some teams that will just leave their offlaner totally alone. Like Undying, for example, he always rotates. He's always stacking. He's always picking up. He just leaves Saber Light there to do his own thing. And I think that's fine if you're leaving like some Sand Kings, some Centaur, Vanagan's, or whatever.
I think there's going to be different approaches actually. I think this is like one of the cool things about the lead up to TI, where you don't know what's going to happen. Like, all these teams are in practicing in different regions, and they're spinning different things, and they're going to come up with different ideas. And I think the group stage really, like, you're going to find out whose ideas are the best.
Yeah.
Group stage really is like, whatever you did in this past month, you're going to find out, was this worth your time, or were you just, now you need to copy what somebody else is doing, and you learn things.
How much adapting do you feel like the team is doing during day 1? Like, okay, everybody comes in with a plan. Let's say I have this crazy plan, and I tried once, doesn't work, but obviously I'm not going to try it just once. I want to make sure that if indeed doesn't work, so I'll try it maybe 2 or 3 times.
I had this carry risk.
Yeah, like when do you change? Do you change after tomorrow? Do you change after today?
So I think it depends. So last year we had 4 IO, but no carry player knew how to play.
And you didn't even run into it in your scripts, right?
No, we didn't know about the 4 IO. I've seen, because I watched a lot of YouTube videos of like Anna clubbing, so I knew he was playing it on unranked. It's just unranked games, yeah. No, but I think day 1 you don't really adapt too much. Because there's so many games going on at once, and you're just trying to like think about your own game. You're playing 3 times in 1 day, so you're just focused on that. And then I think as the group stage progresses, and you get that 1 day between group stage and main stage, that's really, really important. figure out, oh, that team did this, that's really good, we should take it, and we should try to build through that. And I think like most teams do this where you sprint on that one-off day. You try to practice something that you want to play in your opener.
But for one of the teams on each group, it's already going to be too late by that point, Tsunami.
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, 2 eliminations, and everyone is theorizing who their least favorites would be. Maybe it would be mean-spirited to say it already. We can save it for day 4 of the group
Nobody's
stage.
going to be right about that
No
anyway.
one's going to be right.
Nobody's going to be right.
What did you actually, there was one compendium prediction that I was, who do you think is going to be the most picked hero?
I think it's going to be Tiny.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've
no,
heard
sorry, actually,
Tiny.
no. I think Tiny's going to be the most banned hero.
Oh.
I think
I picked both.
I think Pangolier is going to be the most picked hero because I think Pango is good enough that he is going to get first picked.
He's going to be the replacement Tiny.
Sure, yeah. I think, they both have stuns. That helps. I think that he is a support. Like, he can be played as a support, offlane mid. Only role he can't be played in as carry, and some crazy team could pick it as a carry, who knows. But then also, I don't think it's good enough to be first phase banned in every game. Like,
Sure.
it's like at that perfect, like, golden ratio.
And it's too late to get your predictions in right now. Sorry.
Boo.
I don't think I did my game predictions.
Oh,
I
no.
didn't do my game predictions
Did you do
either.
your fantasy?
By
No,
the
that's
way,
what I mean, I
guys,
didn't
we're
do
not
that.
just talking for our own benefit. We're actually waiting
aren't?
for the game start. We have run into to some delays, but don't worry, we're here to keep you company. And once a game starts, we get you covered. We'll let you know. You do with the information what you wish. You can stay here, but you can of course also watch on the appropriate stream where the game will be live with the commentary that is not us, which some people might prefer. No offense. But yeah, we'll keep you up to date.
I don't believe you, Shiver. I told you, I've been burned before. By this TI.
You're like,
I
it's
feel like
not
cursed.
starting?
It's just never happened.
I mean, I'll give a little bit of backstage information. You guys can't see this, but what I can see is a screen a little bit to that side of my camera, and I see 4 lobbies, and I see the players in it.
They're
So
filled.
I'm very excited because this is like, you are about to start. You just need to press that start one, and we're in. And then then it's happening. Because
better.
once you start, you can't stop.
It's like the astronauts climbing onto the
That's right, walking
space
in
shuttle.
slow motion.
Yeah, back in 1969 when they went to the sun.
Oh, I thought about getting into the
believe
car
it.
when you're doing it for Squid Game. You go in, you can't stop once you're in.
No, please. There's some ideas out there of a TI where it's like Squid Game,
Let's not do that because we also want to have a
There would be
TI
a
11.
next one, yeah,
we
yes,
need a
please.
little
That would
bit
be
of
rough.
players.
People just
Oh,
say
you're
we
be
get
on the
new
right
players.
side. Eliminate competition.
We'd be the guys in the red costumes. That's who we are as the talent.
You mean the VIPs?
No, not the VIPs. Don't
Oh,
say
the
that.
red costumes are those? Yes.
Yeah, the soldiers.
So
I haven't
confused.
seen it
Have you
yet.
seen it? I have
No.
not
Okay.
seen the show.
Well,
I've been keeping up.
you guys
with
can
them.
binge it together tonight.
I was watching Dota, Jenkins. I
Yeah,
was
there will be too
preparing
much
for the
Dota to watch
International,
tonight as well.
actually.
There's gonna be so much Dota that after everybody is done here today, you can continue watching Dota for the rest of the evening with 2 streams or 2 games on your screens, and you'll still not be done before we're back here tomorrow.
Well,
That's kind of what happens. It's glorious. I love it. It's also, I think, very daunting for the players. I feel like this is where you want an analyst on your squad. Like a coach needs to help like with the game that is actually being played, right? You
Yeah.
have the in-game, or rather the coach that makes sure that after the game you can make adjustments based on the game that you just played. But I feel like you need to have an extra person looking at what everybody else is doing. Otherwise you
Yeah.
have to go back and look at everybody else's fonts, which is,
It really helps. Like
Yeah.
we have jabs,
Yeah.
and he does that for us, and it honestly alleviates the captain a lot. And I think TI is like probably one of the events where you really want to have a captain that has like a clear mindset, because there's a lot of pressure going into these games, and
Yeah.
the draft is a really, really big part. And I think having somebody that will like help you just focus on the game as much as possible is like such a big advantage. So I do think like having like a bit of an analytical coach and having the mental aspect is going to be like a pretty big factor that favors some of the teams here. Like I think OG and EG both have specific mental coaches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there are other coaches who just focus on like, hey, I'm just going to look at Dota. And I think that's pretty big.
Or they do both jobs.
Yeah.
What do you think about like 3 coaches? Because I feel like there's enough Dota to digest at TI that there might be value, but then also maybe just having one formulated idea that you do best. Like if you're stacking or you're playing a push strat or you're playing like a turtle strat or whatever, maybe if you have 3 people to disagree, it's a little too much. But like, do you think like mental coach and then analytical coach is the best
Well, there
Form
are,
for
for
a team.
example, if you take OG as an
Yeah.
example, they have Mia Stolberg again, which is the same mental coach as they had for TI9 and the same mental coach that helped Astralis and CSGO win multiple majors in a row. Then they have Sakska, who is now the assistant coach, and they have Misha, who's now the head coach. So there's a very clear hierarchy there too, and you feel like that's like the ideal scenario there?
I think it's really, really smart because you're gonna have Sox just look up info, and he's gonna find whatever Misha needs in order to like, you know, give the information that he wants. He's like, I have an idea, and then Sox will go look it up. He'll look at the teams, and then he'll give Misha the info. He's like, Misha's like, yeah, this makes sense with my ideas, and then you know, you just present that to the team, and you have like everything ready instead of like having an idea, stop watching the games, go try to figure out if it works, and then suddenly you've missed out on half the meta and you don't know what's happening.
I think that's too many cooks in the kitchen. I like
think so? You
think
I like
so?
how everyone gets mad at Alliance for having a coach last season, and they're like, fine, no coach at TI.
Isn't
this
that
thing will
mad
not
though?
leave you alone.
No
Yes,
coach
it's
at
terrifying.
TI?
I mean, S4 is a watermelon-sized brain, so I imagine that he has.
He needs it.
He takes that one day off. He crams all the replays, and FNG probably does. I mean, the whole team probably helps, but not having a coach is an intimidating prospect.
I think it's interesting to note though, they have 3 captains on that team.
Yeah.
Hanskin's been a captain, FNG's been a captain, and S4 as well. So maybe they feel like they don't need more ideas. Like they have enough ideas, and for whatever reason, they don't think that coach is like, whoever it is hasn't been a good fit, or they don't think it adds anything to their team. And maybe, like you said, it's just too many cooks in the kitchen.
I was gonna say, okay, this is gonna sound like some BuzzFeed stuff, all right? But I heard that Google tried hiring people randomly rather than doing their normal hiring process. And like I said, this is
Define randomly.
I literally at random.
Like
You search
okay,
something on
names
Google, and then you get hired.
you walk up to someone on the
I-
street, it's
that
like,
guy.
hey,
I did not
let's
click
go?
to the link on the thread in Reddit, so don't take my word for it. However, I believe it. It was a very confident Redditor.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Sure.
And so, well, here's what I'm saying. Maybe in a chaotic environment such as the International, having no coach and just saying, screw it, we'll just do our own thing, that might actually work out for you, because then you're just playing Dota. Everybody else is doing this mental stuff, therapy, whatever. We're just gonna play.
You know, I know I think there is actually a really good point in there, because if you have no
Thank you.
coach, you are forced to stick to your guns, because you can't adjust that much, right?
Sure.
But it does mean that if you don't have the right idea about Dota coming into the tournament, you're done for. Like there's no adapting, or rather very limited adapting, right?
It's more difficult. It's just you're putting more on the players, I think. I think there is something to say about like, yeah, you don't have a coach, so like maybe it's not as, we're not taking it as seriously as everybody else. We're not hiring a bunch of people, but I think genuinely think that's probably just a disadvantage.
You think so? Just a straight disadvantage?
Yes,
It
I
was
think so.
just a theory.
I mean,
Just
just a
random
theory.
people
Yeah,
on the
I think
street
it's-
thing isn't gonna work.
No, I don't think so.
All right.
Part of me just feels like the random people off the street probably is not the play.
And
Well,
we don't know where they got the randoms. Maybe they were randoms that already applied for the job, but just they didn't look at
No,
the
it
rest.
wasn't
No, it's
random
just
people from the street
No,
for
I
the
think it
Google
was.
thing.
That was
It
like, that
people
guy
who-
right there, you
people
work
who
on Chrome.
applied.
No,
It was
it's just
people who
if
applied.
you Google
Yeah.
something, you might get hired.
They're not just walking. Say, you want to work at Google? They're not doing that.
No, you're just Googling something at home,
wanna
and
win
then
an
it's like,
agency.
Yeah, you Googled something, and we
like
are
you've
very
been
impressed
hired.
with your search engine skills.
You play Dota, why not come coach us?
Yeah.
Actually, you at home can participate.
Hey.
We have the crowd functionality now.
We do.
For this TI.
Hashtag TI10.
Hashtag TI10.
Also, you mentioned something,
I did.
and coach of SG. And let's see if you did your homework. Coach of SG.
Yeah, Mangusu?
Yes.
Yeah.
How do you think he got to be coach?
I don't know, actually.
I will
he's
tell
Romanian.
you. He's Romanian.
Yeah.
And I, of course, because I also couldn't find anything, because there's no information about this guy. So I actually went to SG and I was like, who is this guy? And I got a whole bunch of text that Mangusu actually wrote.
Okay.
This guy tried professional Dota for a little bit, as people do, not too successful, and then at some point started doing some coaching one-on-one just with people that want to be coached, and at some point coached D2 Bowie on his stream.
Okay.
And then at some point did some replay analysis, and he decided, you know what, I'm just going to do some replay analysis, just creating content of SG's games.
Okay.
And SG got the word of that, and is like, hey, That's kind of cool, and we
Wow.
like your way of thinking about Dota.
You get how the Brazilians think.
Yeah, and then
That's cool.
yeah, that's literally how he got to be a coach for SG, and now he's here. He's at TI.
So you're saying like content creation can eventually result in somebody coaching a
Dude,
tier,
unbelievably enough, being a caster
a
slash
tier 1
analyst
team.
can.
The team was interested
It could
in a content creator.
being
Yeah,
a
if there were any,
caster.
tier 1 teams here,
I see. Yes, of course.
maybe in the arena we could go ask them.
Relax, dude.
Lest we forget that Seb had an origin story as a caster for a while as well, or an analyst.
Player,
Player.
caster, coach, player, double TI winner.
You ran the gauntlet.
This is
He's
the
done
start right
everything.
here.
I'm trying.
Are you going to coach next season?
We'll see if we keep William.
He's on a very short leash right now.
But I mean, not kidding. I mean, the commentators and the analysts, you know, they talk about Dota in a certain way.
Yeah.
And I would imagine that when a player hears that, you either like it or you don't,
They're
right?
very impressed
Because
usually,
everybody
yeah.
is having a different way of thinking about the
Yeah.
game. And if you like somebody's ways of thinking about the game, then you're more likely to want to chat with them about Dota. And at some point, that could potentially lead.
Of course, and I think one of the cool things that commentators or analysts get to do is they get to watch a lot of Dota, and you're not as biased by like pub games as maybe we are as pros because you play these pubs and when you win, you feel good, and I'm sure everybody at home watching feels this too. Like when you win with a hero, you're like, yeah, this hero's nice. I like this hero. I want to play it more. But when you're just watching games as a caster, you get a different perspective on the game where it's much more objective, I think, because you're not in the picture yourself. And I think for a coach, that's literally what you're doing. You want to like remove yourself from the situation, look at it objectively, and be like, hey, this is what we need to be doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that you genuinely have an edge when you're casting or being an analyst. And I think someone like Seb probably has gotten some advantage from doing that in the past.
That is a question that I've always wondered is like, I mean, obviously there's not much of a clear answer to it, but how much does, you know, let's say you're playing in like 9K MMR or something like that. Let's say you're playing unranked, right? You're playing in all of your scrims, but then you're playing like a crap load of unranked. You're playing with your friends. They're terrible. Maybe you're queuing with Tsunami or something like that. And, you know, so you're playing in this lower bracket. You know, maybe you're playing solo queue or something like that. There's no communication. Like,
Sure.
how can it degrade your skill, do you think, to play in pubs all day, every day? Is there too much? Or is it like better to play unranked? That's another question because you're communicating at least, but maybe it's with worse players. It's tough.
I think a lot of Dota is just habits, right? And the habits that you build. And I think if you exclusively play lower ranked games as a pro player, then I think you will eventually get into the habit of thinking that you can get away with a lot of stuff they get away with.
Yeah, you underestimate your
Precisely. And then I think if there's like a decent amount of both, then that's probably not going to cause you to have any bad habits. But if it's the only thing that you're doing, you're exclusively playing with Tsunami, then yeah, you're probably going to run into
Why am I
issues.
catching strays like this?
I am
Channel
so
number
happy
one,
you
Aiden.
are taken as an example rather than me.
Shiver, what's your voice line again? What's the voice line that you have in the
It's
game?
great.
He's
What-
pretty
what-
high rated,
great.
actually.
Ravage?
He's
Well,
not, he's
I
not
found
bad.
I found out it was 9 years ago. There's a lot of people that don't even know what that is.
That's true.
So
We have had
I'm
to-
safe.
Is a Shiva Ravage when you hit 5 heroes with a Ravage?
Yes, that's exactly
Yes, absolutely.
5 of your allied
Thank you.
heroes.
Very nice.
it. 0 of the enemy.
Yeah, 0. Preferably with the countdown.
What does that mean?
You've not seen the
I don't
clip.
know the Shiva
Okay,
Ravage.
I will tell you. I was in a pub, and it was a party ranked, unranked. Oh, so party queue unranked.
Yeah.
I was in a queue with Sing Sing, Shokshka, Puppy, someone else who I forgot. Doesn't matter. I was playing Tidehunter. It was 7 a.m. in the morning on on a Tuesday morning after playing the whole night because
You didn't have any coffee.
didn't have any coffee.
Very, very reasonable.
Yeah.
Your shoelaces were untied.
Anything?
I didn't wear shoes even.
Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
the
no
worst.
You can't play Dota without
No
shoes.
shoes.
Can't
no
play
Dota.
Dota,
That's
and
what they
then
say.
obviously I'm the worst there, right? It's not even close. It's by a mile. I'm the worst, and I was playing Tidehunter, and I have a big impact. I have a Ravage. You got to use it, and oftentimes I either was too late or too early, or I didn't use it in the fight, and then there was Sing Sing or Puppy saying, "Come on, use your Ravage, please. You should have used it there," and then either it was a cooldown or not. It was terrible. There was a lot of pressure on me, especially at 7 a.m., and I at that point was just spamming Tidehunter. And Sokshka constantly at some point realized that it was triggering me. He's like, Shiva, Ravage, with this pressure. It was like constant. And at some point, you know, there's one fight that, you know, made it the Shiva Ravage. I was fed up. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna use this Ravage, and it's gonna come off cooldown. So it's counting down, and it was in a team fight, and I finally like. I run in, and it's like 3, 2, 1, and I ravage. But at the moment that I ravage, everybody ran away. It was interesting, and obviously Sing Sing was streaming as well, so
That's
great
it was
That's a,
reaction.
good, that's a great voice line. You
It
can
is.
use
It was
it
them,
to
it was-
describe
it
a lot
was-
of situations that you run into in your
Yes,
pubs.
I mean, you know, the Loda Sphere.
No,
Yes.
that's a classic.
I am.
There was
PGG Black Hole.
PGG Black Hole. Who
course.
had the Echo Slam? Someone had the Slam.
I think it's a common thing.
No. There was
just
one person
attributed?
had a Echo Slam missing because he didn't blink before. It was I know the
There's
game
an
because
iconic one.
it was a dire side high ground defense. I just don't know who was playing it.
I remember Sashka Warstun. That's another
Yes,
one.
I know the Boar stun indeed.
That one's great.
Yeah, that was
The
good.
Malk Award.
Malk Award.
There's the
winning the game while still
1 in
0-20.
1 in 20,
one-
0-20.
0-20, no kills.
And then there was the age. We're just getting into the biggest fails in Dota at this point.
I mean,
Yes.
it's TI-10.
Yeah,
it's
sure,
a
sure.
celebration
Yes.
It is,
of all
course,
10
of
years of
course.
our history.
Of course, this is history. What was the Aegis Deny?
KYXY.
Yeah, that
Yep.
was legendary.
painful.
Yeah, and then they ended up losing,
Wasn't-
right? It was orange?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they would have very likely won that game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it seemed like it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it really
And
did.
I think it was that game that made them add the text that says X has denied the Aegis.
Yeah, so you know
Yeah.
No one knew
who's,
initially. and
who's
they were like,
guilty.
"Wow,
yeah.
How did this happen?
That just, that's an argument against A-clicking right there.
That
A-clicking
is true.
a legacy.
I do
Feature.
that still. It's very scary.
Sana, you have right side minimap.
I misclick things.
Do you have right side
sometimes.
minimap?
Yeah,
Do
I
you
I
really?
think I'm the only one that does.
Really?
Yeah.
But it's a hunting. Right?
No, it's not actually. A lot of
What?
people think, they ask me if I'm from the other game.
League of Legends.
The one that we
you can
should not-
mention it.
Oh, we can say it?
Yeah, yes, you can.
I thought
I
it gives
think
it
so.
power if we say its
I
name.
think so.
Yeah, so they assume I'm from that game.
Ah.
I don't know the name of it.
How
Yeah.
did you
Yeah.
start working with that? Like how did you
So,
know?
I played Guild Wars before I started
Okay.
playing Dota, and Guild Wars had the minimap in the top right.
Yeah.
So when I could choose like bottom right, oh no, in Han I could choose bottom left or bottom right. Bottom right seemed more natural to me.
Sure, because you're already used to looking to the right
Yeah,
side anyway.
so that was like
Yeah.
the way I got into it, and then I just kept it forever, and now everyone that watches my stream gets annoyed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be like,
your whole team does all sorts of, like they were gonna remove the unit query panel thing.
right.
But then two of your teammates were like, bro, we're about to play TI, and we
Yeah.
use that thing all the time. And now every single time I watch, is it Boxy or?
Boxy and
yeah,
Taiga
Boxy
both
and
play
Taiga.
with the like pop up on the side.
Oh, that one. Well,
Yeah.
technically that's better because you can keep your hero selected
is.
while
if you're
highlighting.
used to it, it gives you way more information.
It does, yeah.
It has a lot of buggy interactions.
Yeah,
to
it doesn't show
You
neutral
can't see
items,
neutral
I
items,
yeah.
but the benefit is you can see when people place wards and fog.
Right,
the
'cause you
thing
see it
stays
goes
up,
down in a count.
and then you can see like the ward disappear from their inventory.
Yeah.
And honestly, right side minimap is also theoretically better because
I've
you're
heard
never
that.
really clicking down to the bottom right. If you're Radiant, then if you're leaving, you're trying to retreat, you're going to click bottom left. You might misclick your minimap.
Isn't it the same? Is depending on which way you go.
No, but
Well-
Dyer's top
No,
no,
because
right.
you never
because you're
click the
always-
bottom right.
Yeah, so you're either you're clicking bottom left or top right.
I've
So-
heard this too, but I don't. I think like at the end of the day, if you're more used to playing with it on the left, you're probably not misclicking it that much.
Yeah,
Misclicking, I think, is like something that doesn't really happen outside of TI main stage.
Best of ones.
Best of ones.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry about that.
that's fun.
That was not necessarily misclick. That was just a time thing, right? Because the button stays at the same location. It did then. It got changed since. No.
Has it?
Well, it did on the normal pitch
I'm
screen
very
now.
aware now of the
Yes.
timer. I take an extra look at the timer every single game I play. When I'm about to pick my hero, I'm just like, all right, let's just 1 second. Yeah.
You never
we're
get
on
that
picking.
-2 gold, -2 gold, -2 gold. You're always.
It doesn't happen in pro games, unfortunately.
No,
we
that's
keep
true.
our gold, but then you just pick a random hero.
Luck of the draw.
All right, here's a question. Hero icons or the little arrows?
Little arrows.
Little
sure.
arrows.
I have hero icons.
Arrows
What is
across
wrong
the-
with
So
you,
do I.
Aiden?
So do
Why?
I.
No,
Why?
okay.
Because okay, go for it.
I mean, I'm sure we're gonna have the same justification. If you see someone on your team retreating,
Yeah.
you can't tell based off of their picture, but the orientation of the arrow, you can see if they're going this way,
So-
they're going away. If
Yeah.
they're facing this way,
Let me
going
tell
in.
you, I watch my minimap so many times per second, I will see in what direction the icon is moving.
But when a
You have
person
that
is
spatial awareness.
so
Yes.
when a person is using, when you have the arrow, you actually see this thing spin around.
Is that what you expected?
Okay,
the-
that I don't know if that has any gameplay benefit. That just sounds
On
like
top
an
of that,
aesthetic thing,
it's just easier because some of the portraits really don't look very good.
there's
And
none-
at the hero, like they don't have the. you
You're
can't
not-
see
you
it.
are
none
not
of us
selling it.
did not have the same justification.
And
I guess,
otherwise, you
cheaper.
just have colors. It's easier. It's more manageable. It's less clutter on my minimap. It's clean.
I have there's a psychology test, also something I clicked on Reddit for 5 seconds, where they have have you seen the thing where the colors come up and you have to say the word, so it'll be orange, but it'll be colored red, and so it'll be like, say the actual word that you're
Okay.
reading, and then you always get it wrong, you accidentally say the color.
Sure.
Our brain is not good at linking colors to things quickly. And so a lot of the time people will see an arrow that's like a Dota color, and then you won't properly process what color it even was. You're like, I saw somebody there. Often people who use the arrow say, I saw somebody there, and they won't know who it was.
Yeah.
But the hero icons, that's not a problem. But you're right, you can't see the facing direction. That is a
I
problem.
usually
But
memorize whichever color I need to be afraid of. If I'm like, oh, I don't see yellow on the minimap.
I just
Sure,
think it's
okay.
one
X
extra
isn't
step.
there.
It's like quick cast, right?
Fine. Yeah, that's true.
It's like, I think it's a thing of the past. The
Yeah.
colors, like,
I think
it's-
I'm not sure. Okay, homework time. Did anybody read the in-game instructions that our observer sent?
no.
Because
We're not
what are
I
they?
can't-
What
I
are we
can't
read
using?
those.
What are we using?
yes,
What do you mean? What are
Yes.
we using?
yes.
Are we using the portraits of the arrows and the
The
colors?
I know the
Minimap's gonna
answer
be-
to her
use arrows
question.
always.
The minimap's
Yeah.
going to be on the right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna get used to
We're
that.
doing
so-
colorblind mode for everything.
Please
I've
do.
heard some arguments for that. I don't remember what
Wait,
they
are
are.
you
but-
actually colorblind, or do you just
Yeah,
like?
I'm
Oh,
genuinely
okay. Because
colorblind,
I
yeah.
know your stream has it, but I didn't know if it was a
No, I am genuinely colorblind.
red green or what?
Red, green, yeah. Red, green, and brown, actually.
Do you?
So we're in a green screen right now. What do you see, huh?
Yeah,
It's
what do
all
you see?
red.
I knew it.
No, what do you see?
It's just black and white. The entire world is just black and white.
He's a dog, Sheeper.
That's not true. Don't put dogs down like
Yeah,
that. That's a
it's
lie.
it's not.
That's
I'm
a lie in a farce.
propagating the myth.
No, it's certain tones of green and certain tones of red kind of blend. Like I would
Okay.
call a certain tone of green red, and you would be, it's clearly green.
Okay.
But to me, it looks red.
okay.
And especially when they're next to each other. That's like when it's the worst.
Yes.
So with the health
especially when
bars,
it's in a game when
yeah.
yeah,
So having the blue is like much nicer for me.
it's easier.
So then
Yeah.
you couldn't tell strength and agi treads very easily otherwise?
No, I can,
Oh, okay.
but I'm used to it now. I've seen those specific ones so much that it's not a problem. But generally speaking, sometimes some tones of red and some tones of green mesh.
What I can't. I'm trying so hard to remember, but sometimes your brain just doesn't, compute things.
I'm familiar.
90 IQ and so forth going on. There are actual benefits to using colorblind mode that aren't just for colorblind people. It's something with like the HP bars, but I don't remember exactly what. There was a Reddit post
They're
too.
blue. Does that change?
They're
anything?
blue. It's something about them being blue. I don't remember what exactly it is. I thought maybe you would know because you use colorblind mode, but maybe not. But there are some things, there are some settings in the game that are not popular yet. They're not mainstream, but they are mathematically better. WASD, for example, this was Aoi that initially told me this. There's a few carry players that use WASD because you can, as your camera is moving, you can move the mouse to cast a spell. Because with every other form of camera movement, your mouse is locked somewhere, either
Yeah.
to the edge of the screen or to a certain position with the camera.
Isn't
grip.
it Matuma Man
Yeah,
that
he
is
does.
using arrow keys
Yeah.
to move, and he literally will let go of his mouse
Yeah, so
to move and back to the mouse?
So Limp does this really interesting thing. At least he used to do it back in Heroes of New Earth, where he
always
uses
coarse.
he uses mouse to move the thing.
Yeah.
And then he'll move his left hand over to the arrows, move his mouse where he wants it, and then move back to like cast spells. He'll use both edge pan and the mouse wheels, and he would like click his
Isn't that-
camera.
Wouldn't you say that's a little bit of a handicap?
I don't know.
Like, obviously
it worked for him,
him.
obviously.
Obviously
yeah.
it works
Rank
for him.
5, so I don't
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
what's
it
going on.
works for him. But wouldn't you say then that he's going to be even better
He might
if
win
he
a
was
TI.
used to?
He might just like insta win every.
But
the
imagine
next-
how good he would be if he used the normal way.
Yeah,
No,
so
but I just think he uses
Scary.
whatever he wants in that
Yes.
given moment. Like if he needs to use his mouse, then he uses the arrows. If he needs
Yeah,
to,
totally instinct. Totally.
I think so.
I gotta
genuinely
ask
think
you a
so. Yeah.
goddamn question because I've looked at your replays. Okay, I'm learning how to play Ogre Magi because this is a very
Okay.
difficult hero, and your camera goes crazy.
no,
What is going on with that?
I just like to be aware of everything that's happening in the game.
Are
and I
you-
think it was worse. Like when I was younger, I did it a lot more than I do now.
Okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't explain it because it's like it's like somebody should send you a doctor with what's going on with your hand, that there's a problem there.
No, he's just absorbing as much information as
I
possible.
think when you're a captain, you're just a little bit of a psychopath. You just want to know everything that's going on so that you have everything ready after the game. Like this, and this is why we lost. And I know because I watched it all happen.
And because I was thinking, and I don't remember who said this, it might have been BSJ or somebody. People are saying it's because you don't want people to know, you don't want people to watch your player perspective, and so you're making it intentionally hard. That's how bad it. And I watch a replay, so obviously I'm trying to learn something. Lots of respect there, but people are saying that you're trying to make it so that they can't watch it. So it's like vomit-inducing. That's how crazy your camera is.
I've never heard this before.
What DPI do you play with?
400.
400?
I have like 500 or 400.
Oh my
it's super
God.
low. My mouse doesn't move. If you look, my mouse is like only in the middle of my screen.
What about your camera acceleration?
Normal.
Normal? So it's
I just
not...
click on the minimap.
Okay. Yeah, you do this all around. You seriously?
So I actually play with, these like drawing pens? Yeah, that's what I play
That's
with.
what Jarek has been doing.
I've been,
yeah, that's
I've been
really
using
cool,
the,
actually.
He
The
retired from
joystick.
Dota, was like, all right, tablet, that's what I'm going to do now.
Yeah.
I'm going to play games with the tablet, and now OG needs to figure out a way to win without him.
Yeah, and now we still need to watch some Dota, which, by the way, Tsunami is he's sweating
Shiva,
more
you're
and
on
more.
thin ice.
Yeah, because we are still, of course, waiting for the games to start. Don't worry, we won't let the games start without you noticing it. None of the games have begun just yet. Still some issues that we are trying to get fixed. But if you've just joined us because you figured, hey, by now the game should be going on, hello, it's not the case yet, but we will catch you up on what will happen today. So we can take a look at the schedule once more to just give you a little bit of an overview of all the games that will happen today, one way or another. We're gonna start off this stream actually once it's live with EG versus Aster, and we're gonna have 5 streams in total. This is of course one of the streams, but then we're gonna have 4 different streams, stream A, B, C, and D, all with 5 series of 2 games being played. And we're just gonna go over it real quick once again. Tsunami Stream B is gonna have some exciting stuff coming up today. We didn't actually talk about Elephant and Fnatic, which I think is gonna be a very exciting series as well.
Yeah, because Fnatic had a less than stellar DPC Southeast Asia, and they were bouncing around with their roster as they were shifting players around. They ended up bringing in Def, who had a pretty impressive performance at the Singapore Major as a stand-in. And
Hell yeah.
Elephant, I have been extremely critical of, because it's a team of superstars that kind of do bad a lot. And so both of these teams I have had low expectations for throughout the DPC. But now, Aiden, like a lot of people are considering Elephant to be good, and not just like good in China, but like a contender at this TI. What's up with that?
I mean, I think in general, when you get to big stages, you're gonna look at the big names. Like these are the guys that have been here before. They have performed here before. And I think this TI, more than any TI, there's a pretty clear distinction between the teams that have very, very experienced players that have done well at LANs, and then the teams that are just brand new, more or less. Or like, especially when it comes to LAN experience. And I think the 2 years leading up is a big part of, like a big reason for that. It's been so much online gameplay. And I think like that's why teams like Elephant gain popularity when, it's TI time. Who are you gonna look for? You're gonna look at FY.
Yeah.
You're gonna look at Yang.
Yeah.
Paparazzi or Eurus, whatever he prefers. Somnus, maybe. Like, these guys have proven that they're good players at TI.
Yep, they can perform under pressure, and it's going to be very important for them to do that this time around as well. There is a lot of pressure on all the players here. We got a lot of first-timers, so we're going to see how they do deal with that pressure, by the way. Last TI, 25 first-timers. This TI, 39. That's a big increase right there, and I believe that is excluding coaches even. So it's because there's so much less European teams and so many more SA teams. Yeah, so
every single time Liquid or Nigma was also 5 players that had been to 1,000 TIs at that point. And so that's excluded 3 South American teams, like we mentioned.
Like half of them are TI winners too.
Yes.
Yeah, also true. So yeah, the lack of European teams has brought in a lot of new blood, and then North America also, like Undying, Moon Meanders played a TI,
Dubu shut up with MVP.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just those 2, right?
Yep. Saberlight, nothing. Ral, nothing.
Yeah. So a lot of.
Tomato not played at TI?
Tomato has.
He's definitely played like DPC events. Like
Yes.
majors,
Oh, yes. He's
majors,
been at
minors.
events, but he's not
Before
been to it.
this
He's not
year's
played at a
DPC.
TI, I believe. But I can look it up on my notebook if you want. But at the moment, I mean, everybody knows we're still waiting for the games to start, and we have been waiting for a little while. We're going to have to wait a little bit longer, but we are going to take a short break, and when we're back, we will have the issues fixed, and we'll be back with some Dota games. So we're going to let you get a moment to yourself to make sure you still can get your snacks or get some coffee and tea.
Shiver, I swear to God. If this
It
TI does
will
not
happen. It will happen.
I am.
It will happen. We will get this International 10 underway, I promise. But it will happen after this.